The following podcast contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion advised.
And although we joke, if you or someone you know is affected by or a victim of domestic violence, dial 1-800-799-7233 or visit the National Domestic Violence Hotline's website, thehotline.org.
But it's always the husband, it's always the husband, it's always the husband. I don't keep bed.
Hi, everybody. This is Sarah.
And this is Megan.
You're listening to It's Always the Husband podcast.
Welcome.
Yes, we're glad you're here listening again or for the first time. We don't know.
Right. Yeah, this is a true crime podcast. But it's kind of light on the crime and heavy on all the shit we have to go through every day.
Yeah, that's the truth. We create our own shit most of the time.
We do. We're a lot, but
we also hang with shitty people.
Like each other.
Yes.
If you can't tell, this is not safe for a car ride with your children.
Unless you just don't even give a shit.
You don't give a shit. Yeah, then let them listen. It's fine. So how was your week?
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah? What did you do this weekend?
I went somewhere with dicks. I was in bed because it was so late. It was past my bedtime at 6:45.
It was 6:45 when I called you.
I was in my pajamas in bed.
Yeah. But you rebounded. Okay.
I did. Do you want to? Oh, well, first, before we go into any of that,
yeah,
let's thank Joan Lukes. Who sent us a lovely sign.
Well, she didn't really send it. She sent it for us from a man in red.
Right. Who works hard one day a year, which is typical man.
Typical man. And never does anything else. But we got a cute little plaque that says, "Nothing for you, whores."
Yes.
Love, Santa. And yes. I couldn't feel more special.
I love it. So thank you, Joan.
Thanks, Joan.
We love it.
We do love it. It's going up in our
picture. Yeah, it's up in our studio. Yep. And we have some Patreons.
Somebody is donating their money to keep this podcast afloat.
And we should get another Patreon on. I have another Murder Maps one too.
Ooh, I can't wait. Okay.
Elizabeth Long.
Thanks,
welcome.
Elizabeth.
And Amy McDonald. She's the older sister
Amy.
of my college roommate, Jude.
Oh, that's Jude's sister.
Yes, Judy. And Amy had a little baby boy, Tam, when I was in college. But Tam's a grown man now.
No.
And he's going to graduate school, I believe, in Minnesota.
Yeah. Oh, we should have him over.
I know. I'm sure he would enjoy it.
For a hot dish.
Yeah. He would love it.
He'd like my tater tot hot dish.
I think he's too Californian.
We'll turn him.
Yeah. I think he might enjoy it.
Good.
But thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much for helping keep us afloat. And if you like what you hear, I mean, we'd actually have to like perform a little bit. You'd have to keep listening. But if you like this and you want to donate to the cause, we have a Patreon. So you can just go to patreon.com and search It's Always the Husband podcast. Find us there. You can also follow us on socials on Instagram. X. Are we on X anymore?
Twitter, yeah.
Twitter.
I refuse to call it X because Elon's such a goddamn idiot.
We're on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and we also have a great Facebook group, which we'll talk about a little later. So thanks, everyone.
All right, now you can do your glitter and the shitter. What were you doing this week?
Every week, everything's so shitty all the time, and we're just exhausted. And now it literally gets dark at 4:00 in Minnesota.
Yeah, because we're up high on the globe, and we're tilted back 23.5 degrees. The Earth's tilt.
Well, that's if you think the Earth is round.
Oh, right.
But yeah, we are. So it's so dark, and we try to find some light in our week, our glitters in the shitter. So my glitter in the shitter this week is that I called Sarah at 6:45 and said, "Bitch, get out your jammas.
Yeah,
we're going to Jonathan Van Ness." So we did. He was doing his live performance at a local casino. at Mystic Lake Casino, and we screamed during a show because he said he likes to listen to true crime podcasts.
Yeah.
And Nut Bar and I were like, it's always the husband.
They screamed so loud, and I was mortified.
Sarah literally crawled underneath the chair.
Well,
and we
I
were
couldn't
like,
because I spilled one of my drinks all onto my lap and my coat.
your whole drink.
Yes,
you spilled?
I drank one of them, and then when we had to stand up when he came out, I sat back down, and my coat knocked my drink into my lap and all over my coat. So I sat in a wet pee pants
the whole time.
Yes.
Why didn't you say anything?
Well, what could I do?
'Cause
Really,
we were just screaming. Anyway.
So I mean, I couldn't do much about it. Really,
Were you drinking the Cutwaters?
I was drinking the dark period red cherry neutrals.
The what?
I had a cherry.
Oh, you had the neutral. Yeah, you had the neutral.
So it looks like you
Okay.
had period on my pants.
Oh well. Everyone knows you're too old
I
to get
know,
your
that's
period
true.
anymore.
Yeah.
Freaking
That's
bag.
true.
So we went to Jonathan Van Ness, and it was great, and his hair was so shiny.
It was shiny.
I loved watching him, and then I met him.
You did.
At the end, I ran up to the stage. I stormed the stage and met him. So we'll share pictures. He is a delight, and
Yes, Nutbar kept saying to me, "Isn't he the funniest person you've ever seen ever in your whole entire life?" And I very neurodiversely answered her, like, literally, and said no.
did you not like it very much?
But no, I don't think he's the funniest person I've ever seen in my whole life.
But did you laugh?
Actually, well, I went a few times.
What?
But he's not. Absolutely, he's not the funniest person that you've ever met in my life. I've met way funnier. But then the moral is remembered you don't say no to Nutbar. You say yes to everything because she
gets mad.
She gets super mad. And then I just
anytime you disagree with her,
learned a lesson.
She screams. Yeah.
But no, I thought he was funny, but this wasn't like the best stand-up comedy I'd ever seen.
No.
Well, that's what I was saying. I answered her literally like, no.
But that's not really what he is. He's just an entertainer, you know? And he's like funny and says some funny things. And
I know that's what I took it at. But she was like, isn't this the best of your life? That's why I said I was very neurodiverse and was literal. But then I realized
you'd never.
Why did I do that to her?
Appease Cassie's.
Yes, I should have said yes.
Comment.
So she got very angry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even know that happened.
Oh, she was terribly upset.
Was kind of drunk by the end.
Oh my God. What? What?
And I only drink one Cutwater because I had two there, and I was like, why would I even think that I could drink two Cutwaters?
Drink afterward,
and then I had a wine afterwards. Then I was ready to go home. Though.
Yeah, and then you went out the wrong door.
Well, everyone did.
No.
Phil said we all came out of 3 different doors.
No, Hannah and I and Cassie came out one door, and you went out the other one.
Well,
but you found us. So that's fine.
I was just one door over. I mean, I was like one section over from you. I could hear you all coming out.
But you're a whole different set of doors.
I know, but I could still hear you.
Well, because Cassie was loudly smoking with the degenerates off by the side.
Not.
Yes, she was. She was having heaters with total degenerates at the side.
How did I miss this?
And she stank. She stank so bad when she came in, and Phil rolled down the window, and Cassie had a fit. And he said, "You stink." And Hannah and I said, "You reek." And she went, "I do not." I'm like, "You goddamn stink."
Never
so bad.
Ever go against her.
I know. And
you
then I did it. We did it twice.
You haven't
and I said,
learned.
"Oh my God, I did it twice."
Have not learned.
You say yes and you agree. And that's why I said I was so neurodiverse and very literal. And
you
answered
were.
her.
Well, it was late for you, and
it
you
was
were
so late
cranky.
For me.
Like you needed your pajamas and your bedtime tea.
I know.
And your book.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got a wild hair up our ass. We didn't even have the tickets until 6:30, and then we were like, "Should we do it? Should we do it? There's still tickets left. Let's go." We just made an
I know, and I
decision.
always need time to prepare to go out.
Yeah,
so
you have a
spur
hard
of the
time.
moment.
Yeah, you need like 3 days.
But no, it was funny and it was fun. And it was like a quick show where everything was moving.
Yeah.
So it wasn't ever like a downtime.
Yeah,
It was always something funny, but
yeah, there wasn't any like flashy lights or weird shit. It was he was just up there talking. And Cassie and I love him because we love Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. He's
right. And I don't watch that show, so I don't know his personality.
So great. And he's so kind. And he just, he's a good person.
So that's why I was just what?
Yeah.
But I watch Trixie Mattel and Katya, and I find them they're
I like them too. Yeah.
Mine, you're gonna shit your pants. You're gonna eat it. You're gonna die. You're gonna come back to life. You're gonna piss, and then you're gonna die, and then you're gonna come back to life again and die again.
Okay.
It's a musical artist.
What?
I know. I said you're gonna have a heart attack.
I already got goosebumps.
I know
because I can't. What are you gonna tell me? Do you like a musician?
I know. Teddy Swins.
Yeah.
I guess he has his one album or his debut.
Yeah.
It's called I've Tried Everything But Therapy Part 1, and Part 2 comes out end of January. And I like all of his songs because they're sexy. He himself needs a moderate amount of Vaseline on the lens. But all of his songs, they're like in like the soul category, I guess. Of
his voice
Spotify.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great voice.
Yeah.
Like all of his songs are super sexy.
Yep.
And I don't know, there's not like a whole lot out there like him, I think. Because it could be like R&B or like he's many genres all in one song.
Yeah.
So I like him a lot. And everything, like every song on his whole thing, I think is great.
Do you think Teddy Swims could have been attractive at one point?
No. His voice is so attractive and sexy.
1,000 times attractive.
His face needs, his face
it's hard
needs
to
a Vaseline.
see. He has so many tattoos.
I don't mind tattoos. Like
I don't either, but I don't like them on the face.
It's hard on the face.
Yeah.
I don't mind neck tattoos at all.
Oh, like Kimberly and Katie
hate them. I have
tattoos.
Technically 3 neck tattoos, I guess you would say. But I don't mind it at all. A face is hard.
I have a hard time with the face.
But I would say, he's 4'9", and but he
got nominated for a Grammy, didn't he?
Yes, he did. But everything else about him is so sexy.
Yeah, I did shit my pants.
I know.
I didn't eat it though.
Oh.
Wow.
I know.
Sarah likes a music artist. Good job.
Well, I do. I do like some. I just never share it.
Yeah.
All of my friends like so many different things that I never mind. I just blend into everybody else.
Yeah. But would you say, like, do you go around the house cleaning your toilets and singing songs? No.
I can't sing. I would never do that. I can't sing at all.
What about dancing? Is there ever any dancing?
No. Because I can't dance. I don't like to do things I can't do.
Okay. I get it. It's just not your thing.
No, but I know. I took piano lessons for 10 years. I know how to read music and play music.
Yeah.
I just hate singing and I just
can't stop singing. I'm so fucking annoying.
What?
All in my mind at all times there's 13 songs going, like, which one should I belt out now? I can't stop.
Of course.
Yeah. So we have a Facebook group. I alluded to it earlier, but it's called It's Always the Husband Podcast Group.
Yes.
You have to ask. We're very exclusive. You have to ask to get in. And then we let anybody who wants to get in. And then we only put disgusting, perverted, funny memes and TikToks and reels in it just to make ourselves laugh.
Of course.
Every single week we pick a funny. My funny one, my Facebook funny winner today goes to Kylie D. Because she posted a picture of some chocolate cupcakes that came out of the air fryer, and they all had tiny dicks coming out of the top. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
I saw that one and laughed so hard.
I even wrote that, I think. Yeah. Like, how does this even happen?
Like, how? I don't know how they would all that way.
I can't imagine how an air fryer could go against me like that, because I am a fan of the air fryer in every way. But I will fucking never put any cupcakes in there after that
could think
sight.
of cupcakes in there, but I didn't think of that. Mine was Valeska G. She did top 5 farts. And it was so funny because the very first one on the reel is the one I always send to all of you guys, and no one comments on it ever. And I've been sending it for like 2 years. It's that lady who sits in the chair.
Yes,
and she falls off the chair
breaks.
and then does like an hour fart.
Yeah.
And I laughed so hard at it. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Because first you're like, why did she shatter the chair?
Yeah.
And then she falls down so hard and rolls back and then farts for like an hour and a half straight. It is so many whys in that one little thing. And so I was like, oh my God, that's the best. That's my favorite like clip of all time.
I like it.
So that was a good one. You have to go see that one. And so many other funny ones. There were tons of funny reels. And lots of old-timey dick pic things.
And poor Valeska had a rough week. So we're here for you.
Yeah.
Girl, we love you.
All right. Should we talk about this shit show?
Let's talk about the shit show.
This one is a terrible shit show in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that I was like, oh no.
Right.
So we watched, this came from Katie again. Katie that watched another one and gave us a recommendation. She gave
Katie
a recommendation.
with a D?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is Web of Lies, Season 3, Episode 8. It's called New Year's Retribution.
Oh.
So we're going all the way back to 2012, the before times, when people had, I don't know, we were spoiled with the idea of world not having a terrible disease that shuts it all down and everything going to hell after that.
Yeah.
We're going to Charmantown, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And it's December 31st, New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. We have a family, the Jones family.
This was so weird, I thought, but okay.
And they have a New Year's potluck. And their friends and family come over, and everybody has to bring a dish, and they just eat it.
And they drink.
And it just seems like a bunch of nerds getting together with their goddamn kids.
Yeah.
You know, like you would do with your friends.
Yeah. If you have kids and you're like, we can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and you can't do anything super fun.
Yeah.
So the couple is Heather and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
So Heather has her best friend, Joanna, was there, and she's describing Chris. Chris was a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
And they seem to have a large home. And I question this. Because of what the Heather
the whole time
does.
I just kept thinking, what the fuck?
And Heather's his wife, and they have an 8-year-old son, Connor, and a lovely 6-year-old daughter, Ava. And then Joanna tells us, Chris seemed nice and quiet, and he was an attentive dad. Heather was 32. She was from Florida. Mm-hmm. She marries Chris at 19 after meeting him at a party. I'm obviously a Florida party. So... Florida parties. You live by the Florida party. You die by the Florida party.
There ain't no party like a Florida party. That's for sure.
And Heather is a kindergarten teacher. So how is she supporting as a kindergarten teacher this huge home in a family of 4?
I can't figure it out.
There's no way. In Tennessee teachers probably are not making $200,000 a year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Is Charmantown a relatively cheaper town to live in? It seemed like it was by Memphis.
Maybe they got it got it handed down to them in an estate or something.
I don't think so. I don't know. But teachers ain't rich.
No. There's no way you can.
We're strung out,
live in one
poor
income. Yeah.
All right. We see Diane, which is Heather's cousin. And she said, Heather loved life as a teacher. She was vivacious and a great teacher. She was calm and in the moment.
Aww.
And then Heather, for years, though, her kind of battle that she had that shaped her afterwards was that she had a weight problem for most of her, I would say, it probably was most of her adulthood until she hit her late 20s, I guess. I don't know. They didn't say when it's...
No. But it wasn't necessarily well, it was a problem for her because it caused her to feel a lot of shame and she didn't want to leave the house. But her husband didn't give a fuck. He just was like, I like you.
So Heather, most of her adult life was around 400 pounds.
Yes.
And she would get more and more withdrawn. She didn't want to see or go out with friends. She kind of was isolating herself. Mm-hmm. Chris loved her size.
Yes.
Didn't mind at all.
No.
You never complained about it. Heather just felt like she was really insecure about it.
Yeah, she didn't feel good about herself.
So she decided one day she's going to watch what she eats and lose the weight and work out. And I'm sure it took years.
Yeah.
And the show acts like it took a day.
Yeah.
One day.
And then she came out of her house and was like, ta-da,
Yes.
I wear a size 8.
Because in a scene, Chris is coming home from the grocery store. And I want to say, did he really? But if he was a stay-at-home dad, maybe,
Maybe.
He says he opens up the trunk with the groceries in it, and Heather comes out, and he says, I got you all your favorite foods. Chips, donuts, candy. And she says, Chris, I don't eat that food anymore. I eat healthy. And Chris says, I prefer you heavier. And she says, this is the new me, skinny. And he says, I don't like it. Did they never have this conversation before in the 2 or 3 years it took her to lose this weight?
Right. Like she clearly
Did he not
had been
notice?
exercising, and was he like every time she went to the gym like, I hate you. I hate this.
I like big women. Did he
throwing donuts at her face as she got in the car?
Did they never discuss this until this day?
I don't know.
I don't. That makes no sense how they did this in this show. No sense. Because it makes it seem like this was the only conversation they ever had about it.
Right.
So then they say, well, because of that, Heather wondered if he's only going to like her big, what if another man might like her skinny? What the hell? Because of a 2-second conversation in the fucking driveway about donuts? Okay.
Right.
So then
it was weird.
At the same time, Heather she reconnects over like Facebook with a 7th grade boyfriend, and she hasn't seen the guy since 7th grade, and his name is Ed Smithson or Smithson.
I don't know. Ed,
and they become kind of flirty online. A guy she hasn't seen since 7th grade. I can't remember anybody what they look like in 7th grade of any dick I would see on the street now. But then again, I went to school with 750 people, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So at this New Year's Eve party, potluck with kids.
Yeah.
She tells all of her girlfriend friends, she says,
right in front of the front door.
Yes, and in front of Chris, who's with the kids, and in front of everybody else. I'm leaving, Chris. And the friends are like, oh, what? Oh, my God. And she says, I'm leaving tomorrow morning, and he doesn't even know. And they're like, oh, well, where are you going to live? I already have a house. How is she buying a house and paying for 2 homes?
I don't
as a kindergarten teacher? How? Oh, my God. What are you doing on the side? Selling crack? So the friends are like, oh, well, great. And then the next morning comes. Chris is awake in a chair playing video games. Heather and the kids are sneaking down the stairs with like backpacks and duffel bags and sneaking down. And Chris is totally oblivious to them coming down the stairs. And Heather says, Chris, I'm going out with the kids. And Chris says, oh, okay. Not even paying attention to them because he's playing the video games. And Heather takes them all out the door. And it says, Heather takes the kids to the new home. Did she tell the children they have a new home?
I know. She was like, come on, kids. Let's go.
We're leaving this home forever and leaving your daddy right now. How traumatizing.
And it was like, and then he didn't even look at her, and she was like, bye.
Yeah. And
then she's like, we're out of here. So but she didn't even tell him after they were gone.
I know.
It was so weird.
So what she rented, well, in her opinion, was this cute little cabin in the woods, like you would think it's where Sleeping Beauty was raised with the three, the three, what the hell, witch things.
The witch fairies.
The fairies.
Yeah.
As Briar Rose.
Yes.
But her friends describe it as a shit shack where Jason or somebody would come with a machete and and cut your vagina off.
Like some...
And it's just a filthy piss hole.
Some camp horror movie.
Yeah. And it's 10 miles from nothing and totally isolated and so dangerous and fucked. And they're like, she's fucked in the head for doing this. So you're kind of like, are they being super dramatic, or is she just like, is it fine? Because on the show, it kind of looks cute, like a cute little cabin.
It did look cute, yeah. It didn't seem that scary to me. But.
So the kids and her arrive, and she goes, here's our new home. And the kids are like, haha. I would be like, what the hell are you talking about, Mom? Why do I live here now? My friends are on my street. Am I going to the same school? Where's Dad? What's happening? But the kids are like, haha, I don't get it. So she takes all these selfies of her in her new home, sends it to all her friends, like, we're here. Meanwhile, Chris is hours and hours. He's like texting her, where are you? Where are the kids? Then Heather texts him back at night, we left and we're not coming back.
It's so weird.
And Chris is like, what the hell? Now, here's where I kind of side with him, because we have no previous knowledge except that he said he likes her bigger.
Right.
That he's done anything wrong. And we're told he's like a nice guy by all the friends. And he's just had his spouse leave him and take his children away without him having any say in it. If that happened, if that was reversed, the husband just took your kids from you, brought them to a new place, didn't even tell you where they were, you would be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
This would be a serious offense.
You'd be pissed.
Yes. So I can understand like him thinking, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, we've had no discussions about this and you took my kids away.
Right.
Like, that's fucked. And then, like 2 days later, Heather files for divorce. Then these dicks decide to parent trap the kids. The dad's going to keep the boy, and the mom's keeping the girl.
That's fucked up.
I have never heard of that in real life, where you parent trap in real life. You take one kid and that one takes the other, unless the kids are like, I need to live here because of the school, whatever, and one parent is away, or the mom or daughter just can't get along and she wants to live with dad after a while or something. The siblings always want to stay together.
Yeah, that was weird.
I just don't understand it. But whatever. So, I mean, will they never be together? Do you switch siblings then when you trade?
Yeah, what do they do? They spend weekends together with one parent or something?
I don't know. They didn't say. I don't get it. So now this is where I was like, God damn it, this scene. They said Heather is still determined to stay fit and healthy. Fucked 100 times around. So she goes to a club and dances to Zumba. Mm-hmm. The Zumba dancing in here. Now, I went to Zumba and it was bad. This Zumba dancing is like you took dead bodies and reanimated them with tasers up their cooch. It was so horrific. The dancing was absolutely monstrous. I did better, and I was horrible. The whole time, Heather, in her horrible Zumba dancing, she's taking selfies, and her phone is out the whole time. You'd be like, Miss, put your fucking phone away.
No, she would get in trouble if she was in a class.
And then she's sending these awful selfies because she looks so awkward. Like, they're not sexy.
No.
And she's sending them to Ed, and Ed is responding, hot, when she actually looks like an asshole. He should have said asshole, his response. Then, of course, her real Zumba teacher is also a Memphis detective and one of her friends. Her name is Carrie Cooper. But the Zumba, and she looks like a Zumba teacher. Every Zumba teacher has the same hair.
But also like a cop. So it was satisfying.
She was perfect.
Yeah.
The Zumba actress, though, had the dumbest ponytail in the whole show. Where all the front of her hair was out of the ponytail and only very back of her hair was in the ponytail. And I couldn't stand it. I thought, what kind of a dumbass did your hair for this show? You idiot.
Why even have that ponytail holder in? Because your hair is all over in your face.
I couldn't. So now Heather's becoming closer and closer with Ed. She tells him her address.
I just choked on Prosecco.
I kind of did too.
Okay.
She tells him all about her house. Do I paint the walls blue or do I paint purple?
And Ed, the whole time, every time they show him and he's talking to her, he's like working on his bike inside his house. Like, why do you have a motorcycle in your living room, Ed?
What, getting oil all over the floor? And he had long hair, just like last week's.
Yeah. And the friends were all making fun of her.
Yeah.
Like, he
looks like
dirt
he's in a
bag.
gang. Yeah, and he
like,
looks
no,
gross.
Doesn't. It's hot.
He's fucking gross. Stop it.
His hair was not Momoa-esque.
No,
that's for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't. He looked like who's saying "Tiptoe Through the Tulips." He looked like that. What's his name? With the ukulele.
I thought he was kind of like the More Than Words guys. Like
Nuno
Betancourt.
Yeah, but not any sexiness at all.
No, because those guys. Well, one of them was halfway decent looking, but
for sure. But he had curly, weird, curly hair.
Who is the Tiptoe and the Tulips guy?
And he died forever ago. Tiny Tim.
Yeah.
That's what he looked
that
like.
Is guy.
So 3 weeks into 3 weeks into her living at her shit shack, she gets a break into her house. Like someone breaks in and breaks a window. And so Carrie the cop comes and her cousin comes and they're like, you're living in this shit shack. You need to get security around it and like a camera and a security system. She's like, oh, well, that's kind of expensive. And so her cousin says, I'll pay for it. She's like, sure. Like, okay. I mean, you're paying for 2 homes. So how are you're crack dealing or what's going on to get this money? But luckily your cousin can help you with that.
Right.
And she tells Ed that she's got a break in. And Ed is like, oh, no. Tulips, he says. And then Heather, with all this stress, she decides to have a girls' weekend in Memphis. And that's where Carrie is like, Ed is super gross. You should be careful about him. And Heather's like, stop it.
Yeah.
She's like, he looks like a biker and he looks weird. Knock it up.
I mean,
he's cute.
she had been with her husband since 19.
Yeah.
She probably was just like, anyone with eyes is hot.
And Chris was kind of straight-laced, I think. Real kind of nerdy straight-laced. And Ed just kind of seemed like wild, and I think she liked that.
Yeah.
But Ed and Heather kind of get more and more flirty with their Facebook messaging and texting.
Yeah.
But Heather gets another break-in and her phone gets stolen. And
it's like she doesn't know it's stolen at first. She's like, where's my phone?
Yeah, I don't know where my phone is. And she doesn't really care too much.
And she still had a landline because everyone still had phones in 2012, like cordless phones.
And her cousin said, well, Heather never turned on the security system at night because she didn't want to accidentally set it off and like wake up, or her kids accidentally setting it off. Turn it on at night. You have break-ins at night. That's when you turn it on.
Right.
In your shit shack.
Right.
I know. But so that day, like during work that day, she takes a coworker's phone, tells Ed she lost her phone, and so she'll contact him when she finds her phone. But then after school, she drops Ava off at Chris's house, to hang out with her brother for a few hours.
Yeah.
And then she just takes Ava, or no, when Chris answers the door, he answers with his new girlfriend. Okay, this is 3 weeks after they just separated.
Yep.
And Heather goes, well, this is quick. And they say, Chris, who now is working for Domino's Pizza Delivery, met his girlfriend at Domino's. She's a coworker. So she's, what, 19?
19, yeah, probably 17.
At Domino's. Christ. I met my girlfriend at Domino's. You're 35, Chris. She's 16.
That's probably the first job he'd had in so long.
I know. So then Heather goes, picks up Ava, takes Ava home. At 9:30 p.m., Ava's in bed. Heather was doing whatever, and Ed calls her, and Ed says, guess where I am? And in the show, they show someone driving up Heather's driveway, and Heather says, go away, through the door. Leave. And she's yelling out the door, and then it cuts to like commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says the next day we see the Diane cousin. Diane cousin is also a teacher. She's teaching her class fractions like this. She says 1/4 times 1/4 equals, and she has it literally written out ONE and spells quarter, and then writes times TIMES, and then writes out ONE fourth. No one would ever do that to a class and write out the words of it. No one.
Very interested in their spelling.
No, that's not how you teach it, Diane.
Oh.
And then her cell phone rings on her desk, and she says, excuse me, I have to take this call.
Yeah,
you would not say that to your class.
No.
You can't answer your goddamn cell phone in the middle of your class.
No, you cannot.
You can't. First of all, your cell phone wouldn't ring because every school is a cement prison, a cement Turkish prison, and your cell phones don't ever work in there. You can't do that. You would have to be like, I have to wait until after. It doesn't matter who died in my family. Excuse me, class, I have to take this call. And she leaves the class.
No.
You can't do that. If you're shitting your pants, you can't leave.
I was just going to say, if you have diarrhea running down your leg.
Yeah, you got to still go.
You still got 5 minutes.
Solar eclipse means the moon went between the sun and the earth.
Exactly.
And I'm shitting my pants. Yes, that's what you're smelling. I'm sick. I couldn't get a sub. And yes, I have monstrous diarrhea.
We laugh because it's so true.
And so Diane now gets the message that Heather didn't go to work. So she can somehow leave work with police. And she goes to the shit shack, and her car is there. But there is no sign of Heather anywhere. And so Carrie, the police officer Zumba teacher, comes too. And she gets in police mode and searches the entire property. Nothing.
I mean, I'm going to say she's kind of the hero of this show, even though her actor had fucked up hair.
Oh my, yes.
She not only helped Heather get in physically fit condition, but she fucking took charge and was like, we're not going to sit around here in the woods
immediately making
s'mores. Let's go.
Yes. She was balls to the wall and got it done. Mm-hmm. So police right away, thank God, and I'm sure it's due to Carrie, they go to Chris first. Yeah. And they knock on Chris's door, and Chris answers it, and he goes, guys, have you found her? And I'm like, no. And Chris says, okay, because I got a weird email last night at 1 a.m. from Heather. She's not going to email you, dick.
No.
And she's not email. Oh. And so then he has the email up on his TV.
Yes.
And it says something
and they actually have an interview with like one of the detectives, and she said he like posted it on the wall. Like it was so big, whatever.
And they were all looking at each other like, what?
Why?
He's weird.
Because this is 2012.
Yes.
People didn't know how to do stuff like that.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And the email was like, come get Ava right now. It's just too much for me. Please raise them and tell them to remember their loving mommy, like a suicide note. First of all, why is he checking his email at 1 a.m.?
Right.
And why would he answer it from his ex-wife that he has a girlfriend? Why would he answer it from
Maybe
her?
he was still delivering at Domino's.
Right.
And he was like, guess I'm just waiting for the next call.
So I don't see why he would even open it at 1 a.m. So Chris said, I went there. Ava was alone, and so I took her home. And then he said, Heather likes to disappear ninja style. That's what she did to me in January.
I laughed at that part, too.
Ninja style.
What? Ninja?
Oh, my God.
Why do ninjas leave suicide notes? That doesn't even make sense.
Well, I think they're just real quiet when they throw the ninja star at your neck. Maybe that's what he meant. I don't
Why
know.
would she?
And
why
she
would
didn't leave
be
ninja style. She said, I'm going to go out with the kids. And you
then
said, bye.
Come and get the girl.
Yeah.
Like, that's not ninja.
So now they bring him down to the police station, and the police say, tell me about your marriage. And he spews a bunch of diarrhea from his mouth. I love Heather. I've always loved her. We've had the perfect marriage for 13 years. I love my kids. Everything's perfect. We are all perfect. Everything's perfect. Nothing's wrong. Everything's perfect. And they're like, but you're getting a divorce. What happened? Oh, well, she's having an affair with a guy named Ed. I don't know anything else about him. His name is Ed. And the police are like, okay.
Do you know how we can reach him? No.
No, nothing about him. What's he look like? I don't know. So now the kids are being watched by Cousin Diane. And then Carrie and the police are searching the woods for her body, but they don't find anything. And in Charmantown, police find Ed through Heather's Facebook.
Yeah.
And they call Ed.
Well, because right away they were having trouble finding Ed. And I was like, we could find Ed in 2.2 seconds.
Yes.
You got to go to her Facebook page, look at her friends, find
There he
Ed,
is.
bam. It takes you 2 seconds, idiot cops.
I know. So he lives in Johnson City, Tennessee, but it's 8 hours away.
It's a long ways away.
Jesus. So in this scene, the phone rings. Ed flips his hair back like Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, he does.
And answers the phone. Hello?
Oh,
Like that.
yeah.
Hello? And then the police go, hi, we're looking for your girlfriend. And he goes, okay. Can we speak to her? Heather? He went, no, my girlfriend's Janice.
Yeah, he's like, Janice.
And they're like,
Phone.
we thought your girlfriend was Heather. And they realize Ed lives with a woman named Janice, his real girlfriend. But then why is he saying all this weird stuff to Heather and flirty with her? That's inappropriate.
I don't know.
And calling her hot at Zumba. And he admits to being close with Heather. And they say, well, Heather's missing, Ed. You need to come in. And she's been missing 40 hours now, Ed. So Ed makes the 8-hour drive to Charmantown and comes in. And Ed recalls the last call he had with Heather when it was April 15th. And that was the call where he called Heather at 9:30 p.m. and pretended, guess where I am? And he was pretending he was at her house, which is creepy and weird. But he wasn't. He was in his home. But Heather tells him, someone just pulled up in the driveway. Should I push my panic button? And Ed said, well, who is it? And then it ended up being Chris. And Ed was still on the phone. So she puts the phone down in her hand, but Ed can still hear.
Right.
And Heather says, what do you want, Chris? And Chris says, can I talk to you? It's very important. And she's like, I don't want to talk to you. You're fucked. And Chris is like, I need to talk to you. And then Heather says, Ed, can I call you back in 2 minutes? Or Ed, call me back in 2 minutes.
Call me back in 2 minutes.
And Ed says, okay. So in exactly 2 minutes, Ed calls Heather back, and Heather answers. She's like, I'm here, but Chris is still there. And he hears Chris say, it's a matter of life and death that I need to talk to you. And then Heather says, oh my God, okay, I'll call you back, Ed. And she never did. So then later that night, Ed gets a Facebook message that's super weird. Says it's from Heather. And it says, he knows everything. I'm such a fool. I have to say goodbye. And Ed's like, what? And it sounded super weird. But then the next day, he gets all these super sexual text messages from Heather. Like, I want to fuck you.
Yes.
And Ed's like, what? And like a bunch of those. And then the police are like, okay. And then they get a search warrant for Chris's house. They notice his car is gone because they want to put a GPS tracker on his car. They don't find anything in the house, but they find his car in Charmantown and put the tracker on it. And for a few days, they follow Chris, and he goes to Memphis, and he parties it up. And they're like, he doesn't look too upset about the love of his life just being killed that he loved so much in his marriage, and he loved in perfect marriage and all that.
And now he has 2 kids that he has to take care of.
Right, and he doesn't give 2
their
shits.
Mom's gone.
Yeah. So the detectives call Chris in again to the police station, and Chris drives there, but he parks his car like far ass away. And the police are like, why is he parking by like the mall and walking way over here to the police station? What a dumbass. So some police interview him, and then other police take cadaver dogs to the car, and the cadaver dogs sniff all over and in the trunk, and then they bark.
Yeah.
There's a cadaver in the smell in the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
And so the police that with the cadaver dogs call in to the police who are interviewing Ed and say, yes, the dogs have cadaver smell in Ed's car in the trunk. And so the police officer interviewing Ed hangs up the phone and goes, Ed, cut the crap. And Ed then goes, Heather was drunk and she fell down and hit her head and died. And they're like, try again, bitch. Heather hung herself and died, and I hid the body. Try again, bitch. And then he just says, I'll tell you where her body is. And it was way north of Charmantown. And so he drives them way, and Carrie, the police officer, like, it was way off where we were searching. Like, we wouldn't have searched there. It's in these woods. We never would have went there. And then he takes him to it, and he says, I burned her a Viking funeral. So he made a huge pyre, like with logs and logs and logs, like Khal Drogo on Game of Thrones, or like goddamn Darth Vader was burned in Return of the Jedi on this big tower of logs, and he burned her on it, her body, the mother of his kids.
Horrible. And then he went to bars and drank.
Yes, and then partied, and he just left her there. I mean, that is horrifying.
Yeah.
And you just burn this huge monster fire in the middle of the woods. And
where were the kids? Because he had to get kid from her house.
I'm sure with Diane, he thinks Diane's going to raise him now. And the police are horrified. And there's still remains of her there. Enough that they can see her bones. And they see the bones in her neck. And they can tell that he strangled her and killed her that way. Because there's so much of her still left. My God. So he gets arrested pretty much immediately. And the police are then find out that he obviously sent all the fake Facebook messages, the weird, let's fuck phone messages to Ed and emails as Heather. He's the one who stole her cell phone because Ava saw him with mommy's cell phone. And then on February 2015, he finally gets convicted of first-degree murder. He gets 51 years. Thank God. And they show he just looks like a boring, weird nobody.
You would never even look at him and be like, murder or anything.
Yeah.
No. You wouldn't even think twice.
Just like a nerd who works in a business office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he looks so like non-harmful.
Yeah, very innocuous.
Yeah.
Just like whatever. But no, he burned his fucking wife.
I can't believe that the horror you would do that.
Well, his kids were at home. I don't know.
Well, Ava was obviously there when he killed her.
Yeah.
Sleeping probably.
Oh. She didn't say anything, did she?
No. I hope she was asleep. Just awful, 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 awful.
That is awful. That guy's a dick. I'm glad he's in jail.
Oh, I know. I hope he'll die in there. I think he will.
Yeah, I hope so. So thanks for listening. We have a book club because not only are we obsessed with true crime, but we love to read true crime books. So the book for this month is All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers.
Yes.
And I started it. It's like every other chapter kind of like.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it so far.
I liked it too.
Yeah. And so we're going to meet on November 27th.
6 or 7, I don't know.
Shoot. What day? I thought I wrote it down, but now I just wrote down the word November and not the real date. It's going to be November 26th. It's a Tuesday.
It's
a Tuesday, November 26th. It's the couple days before Thanksgiving. We are only going to discuss All Good People here and then all of our other trash talk.
Yeah.
I am in talks with McCracken Poston Jr. We will book him for a date where we only will talk about Zenith Man. And we promise that we will all be there together.
Yes. Third time's a charm, as
it
say.
is. It is. And he is our hero, so we can't wait to meet him.
Right.
If you haven't yet, quick read Zenith Man.
And listen to
Noble so that we can ask him all about it and get your questions ready. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Do you have any last comments?
I don't.
Okay. Bye. Yeah.